Good evening, everyone. So today I would like to talk about the occupational safety and health. So as an introduction, I would like to introduce myself. My name is John Castello. So today we shall focus on the importance of safety and health, particularly to the occupational safety and health in the workplace. So when we talk about OSH, we must relate our action to OSHA, which is also known as the Occupational Safety and Health Act 1994. So bear in mind that at a workplace, every decision that we make has legal consequences. So basically, we are obliged to comply with the OSHA law. So this occupational safety and health law, they bring benefits to both employers and employee. So one of the importance here that we must know that why we need to practice safety and health in a workplace is that it is a legal requirement under OSH law, which is the Occupational Safety and Health Act 514/1994. So now I shall elaborate more on the importance of the safety and health. Alright, so the elaboration for the importance of practicing safety and health in a workplace is that it can reduce the risk of accidents and injuries. When we think about it, it is actually a good thing in a workplace. It is actually a good thing to reduce the risk of accidents and injuries, so that there is a less probability or the likeliness of an incident related to occupational safety and health. So this is very true that when we practice OSH in workplace, so by practicing OSH means that performing an action that is considered safe and doesn't harm yourself or anyone else. So that is the importance of practicing OSH in a workplace, which is to reduce the risk of accidents and injuries. Now, secondly, we want to improve the efficiency and the productivity among employees. So how does practicing OSH can improve the efficiency and the productivity of employees? So by practicing OSH in the workplace, there will be no sick employee. No employees will fall sick. So by having a healthy and safely minded employees, so work can be done efficiently, and hence this will increase productivity among employees. So in general, poor OSH environment will lead to the hesitancy during work among the employee. So that is why we have to practice OSH in the workplace, which is to improve the efficiency and the productivity among employees. This actually brings many benefits to industry players. Right, the third importance of having OSH in the workplace is that we can keep people safe. Keeping people safe is very important in the industry and also to the general public. We want to keep the general public safe from any danger that is a result of our work in the workplace. So people like to take the example of welding. This welding itself, the welding process actually is a dangerous process. By practicing OSH in the workplace, we can prevent injuries to ourselves and most importantly to the people surrounding when we perform welding work. So in other words, this can also prevent unnecessary death as a result of negligence. So if statistically most accidents occur due to human error, but this can be prevented if OSH is practiced in the workplace, meaning that death can be prevented from happening. So that is one of the importance of practicing OSH, which is to keep people safe from dangers and also from hazardous elements during works.
Electrical safety is a general practice of workers who are exposed to handling electrical related things. A good safety practice will reduce the electrical hazards and prevent its dangerous effects in case of an incident. If we fail to follow the electrical safety, will lead to accidents, near misses, or even fatalities. Working around electricity can be very safe on the job site when workers are properly control hazards, but insufficient training, lack of experience, and failure of recognized potential hazard could result in electrical shock or death. The construction industry is the most at danger for electrical hazards because most of the incidents and fatalities were caused by the worker direct contact with overhead power lines and contact with machines, tools, and hand-carried metallic stuff. The top of the list of professionals who are most exposed to electrical hazard are engineers, electricians, and overhead line workers. The common tasks that put these workers at risk include electrical installation and repair, testing of fixtures and equipment, and inspection and maintenance activities. But the people who are indirectly working with electricity like office workers are also exposed to electrical hazards. Electrocution is one of the most common hazards in construction sites according to OSHA. So we have to identify electrical hazard to help raising the awareness of risk, severity, and how the workers being harmed. And here are some of the common electrical hazards in workplace and electrical safety tips on what we can do to reduce these risks. So the first one, damaged equipment and tools. Exposed to damaged electrical tools and equipment can be very dangerous. So do not fix anything unless you are qualified to do so. Before using the tools, we need to check for the cable condition. The second, inadequate wiring and overloaded circuits. Using wiring of not suitable sides of the current will cause overheating and fires to occur. So we need to correct the wire suitable for the operation and the electrical load to work on, and use the correct extension cord designed for heavy duty use. Also, do not overload a socket and use proper circuit breakers. The third one is the exposed electrical parts. The examples of exposed electrical parts include temporary lighting, open power distribution units, and detached insulation parts on electrical cords. These hazards can cause potential shock and burns. What we can do is to secure these items with proper guarding mechanism and always check for any exposed part to be repaired immediately. Number 4 is the improper grounding. The most common OSHA electrical violation is the improper grounding of equipment. Proper grounding can eliminate leakage current and reduce the risk of electrocution. So we never remove the metallic ground pin as it is responsible for returning leakage current to the ground. Number 5 is wet condition. Do not operate electrical equipment in wet conditions because water will greatly increase the risk of electrocution, especially if the equipment has damaged insulation. So please have a qualified electrician to inspect the electrical equipment that has gotten wet before energizing it. So this number 6 is damaged insulation. Defective insulation is a hazard, so we have to be aware of damaged insulation and report it immediately. Before replacing damaged insulation, we have to turn off all the power source and never attempt to cover them with electrical tape. After learning about electrical hazard and tips on how to safeguard against them, it pays to also know about electrical safety rules that can be followed in the workplace and at home. So here are some electrical safety rules. We need to keep water and other liquids away from electrical equipment and sources of electricity. Disconnecting electrical equipment by pulling the plug, not the cable. Keep the electrical cables out of the way because untidy cables that are all over the place can also become trip hazards. Avoid using one outlet or extension cord to power multiple equipment as this can overheat and cause fire. Do not put off electrical fire using water. We need to use the fire extinguishers with glass sea level. Be aware of power lines before climbing a tree or a ladder, and especially when working at height. Use socket covers when there are children around to avoid electrocution. Have flickering lights checked and fixed, as it can cause by loose connections somewhere or the bulb itself needs to be secured or replaced. Use clear visible signs when there are high voltage in the vicinity that people need to be warned about. And the last, always ask an expert to handle any electrical issues.
Hi, my name is Binti Aidell with the metric number of 73282. The topic that I will talk about today will be about emergency and fire safety. Employers are required to provide a safe working environment for employees, and that responsibility means having an emergency plan for responding positively to natural disasters. The most common workplace emergency is fire. The best way to prevent injuries and death from fires is to prevent the fire in the first place. According to Occupational Safety and Health Administration (OSHA), more than 75,000 workplace fires and related explosions occur each year. Fire safety can include engineered controls like fire sprinklers, fire alarms, and smoke detectors. They are mandatory for modern structures nowadays and likely to exist where you work. Fire Prevention Plan. The first plan is to routinely check your electrical appliances and wiring. Replace all worn, old, or damaged appliances cords immediately. If an appliance has a 3-prong plug, use it only in a 3-slot outlet. Never force it to fit into a 2-slot outlet or an extension cord. Next, keep clothes, curtains, and other items that can catch fire at least 3 feet from all portable electric space heaters. Lastly, avoid putting cords where they can be damaged or pinched by furniture, under rugs and carpets, or across doorways. Emergency exits and routes. In the case of a fire emergency, you want to get everyone out of the facility as quick as possible. Emergency exits and routes are crucial because they provide a clear path to safety. Here are the qualities of effective emergency exits and routes as specified by OSHA. First, it must be a permanent part of the building. It must be provided with a protected way of travel out of the building. Next, it may contain way of access of passageways, stairs, aisles, and stairwells, ramps, or a series exit doors. Lastly, it may have ways of access that lead from one area or floor to another, or from one building to another.
Greetings, I'm Anak Clarance with the metric number 73377, and I'm going to talk about the importance of personal protection equipment, PPE. Personal protective equipment, or known as PPE, shields its wearer from any physical injury or risk that may be present in the workplace. The types of PPE equipment are safety helmets, ear protection, high visibility clothing, safety footwear and safety harness, thermal, weather and waterproof clothing, and respiratory protective equipment, PRE. It is significant because it serves as a safeguard for business that is considered to be more hazardous, such as manufacturing and mining. It is crucial to understand that all the job safety equipment must comply with the personal protective equipment regulation, and it is the most effective when it is the right size, fit, and height for the user. There are 3 reasons why it is important to use PPE in the workplace. First, it protects us from being held responsible for our injuries. An individual's decision not to wear PPE, despite the fact that it was provided by the employer, is a common speed harm that workers' compensation attorneys deal with on a regular basis. As a result, culpability for a workplace illness or injury is frequently ambiguous. As an employee, we should have a thorough understanding of which equipment is required for certain jobs, as well as what it is designed to protect. Second, there is only one pair of eyes in our body. One of the most prevalent and effective types of PPE is safety eyewear. This is because any chemical, corrosive or not, and any item sharp or not, can be harmful to our eyes if it comes to contact with them. According to American Academy of Ophthalmology, AAO, protective eyewear may have prevented 90% of this eye injury. Since manufacturing, constructions and trade jobs account for 61% of all eye injuries, it is crucial to recognize that different types of PPE eyewear are available for different conditions. Third, it improves the quality of our day at work. Consider the personal protective equipment, PPE, to be sort of a support system for work that we'll be using as part of our job. It may be more physically demanding or dangerous than your normal test, but the equipment is supplied to make you feel safe. As a conclusion, we have discussed about the 4 topics, that is, importance of safety and health, electrical hazard awareness, emergency and fire safety, and finally, the importance of personal protective equipment, PPE. Since human life is priceless, safety and prevention should always be prioritized in all scenarios. This is all from us. Thank you.